Chairman, Commissioner Werfel, thank you for your testimony, for being here, and let me thank you and your team for your hard work and doing so much with limited resources. There's been a lot of discussion this morning about the tax gap, and it's my understanding that between 2010 and 2022, the number of examining revenue agents who handle complex enforcement cases fell by 40%. That the field collection revenue officers who manage the difficult collection cases dropped by 54%. Can you tell me how the loss of so many highly trained enforcement staff are vital to ensuring the integrity of the tax code? How has that prevented IRS from addressing the tax gap and generating the much-needed revenue to reduce the deficit and pay for other priorities? That's my first question. And I have two other questions that are relatively short, so you can take short answers. One is what the IRS is doing and what efforts you're deploying with regard to artificial intelligence to crack down on tax evasion, and whether or not you're developing artificial intelligence tools in-house, or are you collaborating with outside experts or contractors? And the final question is relative to rural taxpayers. Many of my constituents live in rural areas, and they don't have access to high-speed internet. So when they file their returns, they do so by paper rather than online. And what is IRS doing to speed up the processing of the paper returns?
Thank you, Congressman. Let me start with your first question, which is underfunding means two things. It means we don't have the right number of people. We're not right-sized. So therefore, we don't have the scope and the reach that are necessary to address tax evasion where it's happening. And the second thing is we're not making the right investments in subject matter expertise and in analytics, including AI, to make sure that we are unpacking the complexity. We are finding the right taxpayers to audit and leaving the taxpayers that are playing by the rules alone. It degrades both our scale and our depth of knowledge, and it means that that more evasion will occur, and that will create uncertainty in markets and be very challenging for those companies and partnerships that are playing by the rules and expects the IRS to hold people accountable to play by the rules. Your second question, just bridging on the AI, how are we using AI in enforcement? You know, the analogy that I'll use is a chess game. When we are looking to select audit amongst some of the largest corporations in the world, those that aren't playing by the rules are shielding their income in very sophisticated ways. An example might be they're operating in multiple tax jurisdictions. They're doing a significant amount in the US, but they're moving all of that economic activity as they're presenting it to a better tax rate jurisdiction, when the reality is that activity is happening in the US. How do we detect that? That's a chess move by them. And what we're deciding to do is, rather than just have the human there playing that chess game, we're getting the computer to advise us. It's still the human's decision. It's the IRS employee's decision on what the next move should be, but we're having the computer help us calculate all the permutations of the moves so that we're better at the chess board and can catch the evasion more effectively.
In-house or outside?
Both. We have important partnerships with the private sector, but ultimately, decisions on audit selection is inherently governmental, and only IRS employees make those decisions.
And the rule?
Rule, yeah, I mean, this is a really important point.
Paper filing?
Yeah, we have done significant improvements in managing our paper backlogs. They were significantly outsized during COVID, and now they're back all within what I call tolerance, with the exception of the employee retention credit, which is a different thing, so and a different challenge. But more work is needed, and what we really want to see is increased access to high-speed internet all over the country, so that those taxpayers can avail themselves. But we will meet them where they are. And if they have to file in paper, we will do better in paper. And also, we will set up, and we've been doing this more and more, walk-in centers. We call them pop-up walk-in centers, where we are going to rural communities that are more than 100 miles from a city center and setting up shop with a walk-in center so they can get help if they need it.
Thank you, sir.